Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was on. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. It's February 8th, 2021, approximately 7:15 p.m. And this is the Douglas Library Board of Trustees meeting. I am Peter Casarella. Those present with us tonight are Donna, Kevin, Pat, Gail, MA, and Beth. Do we have anyone else out there that you know of, Kevin? I forget
Steve
anybody?
Porter is here and Deb Witt
Oh.
just entered the room.
Hello.
Hi, Deb.
Hi, Deb. Hi, Sue.
Hi, Peter. Hi, Sue.
Okay, first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would all follow my lead, please. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag
Of the
of the
United
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, sorry.
Good. Do we have anyone from the public with us this evening who is either out there or would like to say something? Okay, hearing nothing, we will go to item number 4, reports. Let's start with last month's minutes. I trust everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes.
Yes.
Are there any additions, corrections, deletions? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
This is Gail. I'll make the motion.
Moved by Gail, second. Do I hear a second?
I will second. It's Deb.
Okay, moved and seconded. Gail moved it and Deb seconded it. Any further discussion regarding the minutes? Hearing none. Kevin, would you take vote by roll call, please?
Absolutely. Deb Witt,
Aye.
MA Foote,
Aye.
Beth Schmeisel,
Aye.
Pat Ayers.
Aye.
Everybody switched around. Sue Porter. Oh, Sue, I've got you muted because we had some background noise. I'm going to see if I can ask you to unmute.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to abstain because I wasn't there last month.
Okay. And Gail Richmond
Aye.
and Peter Casarella.
Just one point of clarification. Pat, I think because you were not an official member last month, I don't think you can vote on the minutes.
I agree.
Okay,
Yeah.
that being said, then I say aye, Kevin.
Okay.
Thank you, Beth and everyone. Okay, financial report. We had financial report attached with the package that Kevin gave us. Does anyone have any questions or comments on it? Kevin, I know that in terms of the financial report, I know we had built in, or the contractor had built in some tweaking and some work on balancing our HVAC system. Have they been out there in this terribly cold weather?
Yes. So we had S&E building systems come through and adjust the system, balance it. It was running a little bit cold, but they came through a second time, and now everything seems to be a little bit more comfortable. So yeah, we're in good shape there. There's still one more piece of that project that isn't quite done yet, but I can talk about that in building projects. On the financial report, I did want to just point out that we do have the 016 fund balance at the bottom of the sheet. That was something that was asked for last month. So when we see the negative 500 under the books, under that 016 account, it really means that it's, $500 out of the 26,864 is the total of the fund.
Kevin, would you mind taking a minute and explain to Pat what the 016 fund is, please?
Sure. So the 016 fund is funds that come from donations and lost books, that sort of thing. So purchases that are made outside of what's given to us by the town every year. The 016 fund rolls over, and that's what makes the budgeting for it a little bit tricky. So in the annual budget, it shows up as zeros the whole way through, but we have a balance that's kept tracked outside of it that we can use.
Thank you.
And there are some special rules around it. I think I'm allowed to spend up to $1,000. Anything over a purchase larger than that, I believe the board needs to approve.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, may I add something to that?
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
The fund 016 actually started because there were many people in memory of someone wished to make a donation in memory of that person. So for example, a book might be bought in memory of somebody with a little plaque in the front of it. But the idea of why there is a limit on what Kevin can spend is that the board always wanted to make sure that the funds were being spent the way the donor wanted. So it's just a way of keeping track of it. We don't think Kevin's going to do anything strange with it.
I guess he wouldn't get very far, would he?
Nah, we'd be all over.
I could buy a fast car for $26,000.
Any other questions on the financials? Donna, anything further from Town Hall regarding putting the expense or the capital budgets out there?
If you're talking about the CIP budgets right now?
Yes.
Okay, so we're still reviewing budgets right now. The CIP is with the town manager and the Board of Selectmen. And they'll be talking about that at their next meeting to make a recommendation that will be incorporated into the town budget. And that will be further reviewed during the month of March. So they're in process.
They're in process, and I think we're all set in terms of where we're going with our budget. There hasn't been anything further back to Kevin, is my understanding.
The operating budget?
Yes.
Again, they're in finance, and the town manager and the finance director and I will start to review the budgets with the department heads. And the town manager will make some adjustments before it gets presented to the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance for March 2nd is when that budget will be presented.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else for Kevin on the financials? Okay, Kevin, you're on for your report.
Okay. Let me share the screen here. Okay, so the ILS transition continues to go well. So this is what we switched over at the beginning of the year to the upgrade of the Evergreen integrated library system. Staff is pretty confident with the system, so we're still having some printer issues with things not spitting out at the right receipt printer versus the regular printer, but that sort of stuff was never completely fixed in the previous update, so I suspect it'll probably get about to 95% in this one too. So there's a large patch plan for the spring that's supposed to address some of those ongoing issues. So I'm looking forward to that. Bibliomation has been very helpful with training and been very responsive to all sorts of questions that I've been throwing their way. So they've been very good. A few months ago, I had mentioned that Overdrive, the ebook vendor, bought RB Digital, which recorded books, sells audiobooks, and they're who we had our e-magazine collection purchased through. So we have a collection of 50 magazines that we were purchasing that people could read through the RB Digital application. So the news came through, I think, late last summer that Overdrive had bought RB Digital, and that eventually that they would all migrate into the Overdrive platform. So that officially happened 2 weeks ago. So some positives and negatives of the move. The magazines look great on the Libby app or on the in a browser. They look as good as they did in RB Digital. We have access to many more titles right now. So we paid for 50 titles and now we have access to about 4,000. And those are simultaneous use. It's a lot of them are very niche, but there are big mainstream publications in there too. But the bad news is that the subscription fee is going to be $1,000 higher than what we've paid this past fiscal year. So I don't know that it's something we're going to be able to keep doing going forward. Our subscription lapses in August. And I'm going to monitor the usage of the magazines between now and then, and we'll just see if it makes sense. So the current subscription cost $1,000. This costs $2,000. It's a lot of content that we're getting extra, so I don't think it's a bad deal. We just got to see how much people are using it. I've also reached out to Bibliomation about seeking a group discount for the purchase, and we also share items, electronic items with the other Bibliomation libraries. So I honestly think this would be a great thing that probably everybody would like to have across the board. So maybe it's something they'll consider purchasing for the whole consortium, which would mean we'd get access, but it wouldn't directly come out of our budget. Another 40 adult crafts and 155 children's takeaway craft kits were picked up in January. Demand slowed a little bit from December, but it's still high enough that we're going to continue to do that for the near future. I'm going to skip over building updates till we get to that on the agenda, but some other notes. Our young adult services received a shot in the arm this month. We've got 2 library assistants that have taken on responsibilities to work on coordinating some programs and making volunteer opportunities for high school students, which is something we're frequently asked about. So they've done some work updating the website on that, and they're going to restart the Teen Advisory Board on February 26th. So we're going to do that in a digital environment and see what we get as far as participation. But they're very excited about it, and they're doing a lot of great work trying to promote it. So I'm happy about that. So we have our intern, so Christine Kachula. She's also a library assistant here, but she's doing her internship this semester, recording virtual story times on the library's website, and she's putting them up on our Facebook page and YouTube, and she's producing an accompanying craft for parents to pick up each week. That's been having a very positive reaction from people on social media. About 15 of the crafts are taken each week, and the views on the video kind of vary, and they're between 20 and 50, for the first week that they're out. But it's nice because they stay up longer, and they do get watched. The ones that we put up last spring, a few of them have like 1,000 views at this point, whereas they started out the first couple of weeks having a couple. So that's
Excuse
nice.
me, Kevin.
Yes.
I heard from Althea, she can't get in. We had
Oh,
this
she's
problem
in the waiting
with
room?
her before. She wants to get in. Yeah, she texted me.
Okay, she's not sitting in the waiting room.
What should I tell her to do then?
She clicked on the link and she must have ended up somewhere differently, maybe. I can resend her the access information. Let's see if we can do that. I can invite her. Sorry, I'm just going to pull up her email here. Okay. So Gail, I just emailed her the invitation again. I sent it to all 3 email addresses that I have, so for town and then
Okay.
for 2 personal. So hopefully it comes through on one of those, and I'll just watch to see when she comes in. Okay. Okay, so the virtual story time is going well, and she's doing a great job with that. I met the state librarian, the new state librarian, in a Zoom meeting with some other Eastern Connecticut library directors a couple weeks ago. So her name's Deborah Shander, and she seemed really nice and open to the ideas that we spoke about. A lot of the discussion revolved around lobbying to get library workers higher up on the vaccine list, but there were some other broader ideas discussed about the role that the state library plays. So excited to see how that relationship grows. We started planning for the summer reading program. This year's theme is Tales and Tales. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to have in-person events by July, but we are looking at booking performers that can do things both ways. So we'll have to be as flexible as we can be. We'll see where we are in the summer. The next phase of our staff procedures manual, procedures for LTA 1s, has been completed and distributed to staff. So this is part of an ongoing project to document and standardize how we're doing all of the jobs that we're doing in the library. And this was a big one for LTA 1s. So we'll start working on the next section probably next month after we give ourselves a breather from that. And on January 30th, the community room at the library was open for a couple of hours as a warming center. This was a Saturday when we had very cold weather at the very end of January. So I don't think we had anybody come through, but we did offer it on the website. And a couple of things towards my annual goals. I attended the Accessible Library Programs workshop, which discussed some of the accessibility issues of doing programs via Zoom. So better in some ways, worse in other ways, and just some of the things to think about to make it easier for people, especially those that are hard of hearing. And I booked a program for March 24th. It's a workshop called Foundations of Equity Literacy that I'm excited about. So that'll be an interesting program to see how that shakes out. So that's the end of my report. Although, Peter, I would like to ask that under new business, we add another agenda item about for discussing the library building reopening. We've been having some discussions about that, and I'd like to see if I could get a recommendation from the board further down the agenda. That's okay.
Yes, absolutely. We'll put that under new business, Kevin.
Okay, thanks, Peter. Any
I have
questions?
a question.
Of course.
Those, under the annual goals, the programs, are those for just you, or are they for you and the entire staff?
So the annual goal for me was that I would participate in a professional development activity once a month.
The 2 you have listed, are those that you will be participating in, or you and other staff members?
So the workshops that I list are ones that I've participated in. The staff participates in workshops as well. For them, I've set a goal of the part-time staff doing 1 workshop throughout the year, and then the full-time staff making sure they do something quarterly. And the program that I booked for is actually just a program. One of my goals was to take a more active role in programming. So I think I said I was going to run, I forget if it was 3 or 4 programs. So I just wanted to mention that I was working towards that goal as well.
I know, but that's not answering my question.
The workshops are so that's just me. I'm just listing the workshops I'm doing here. I didn't list anything that the other staff did.
Okay, could we, in your report, could we include additional ones in the future of, other staff members or whatever?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thanks.
Okay.
Any questions for Kevin other than that? Okay, thank you, Kevin. No, anyone here representing Friends of the Library this evening?
No one's here. I can tell you that the Friends of the Library have been doing a little bit of work back in the building. They had, when they, the carpeting is done in their area or largely done. So Tim and Maureen and some other volunteers have been moving items out of the community room back into their space, and just in general trying to get stuff out of their living room and back into their area. So that's resumed, but no discussions about like a book sale or anything like that in the near future.
Okay, thank you. Donna, Town Manager Representative?
Just to follow up on that, Kevin, when they're moving stuff back into that room, just a reminder to them not to please not put anything behind that if the desk is still in the same place. Not to put anything behind that desk, to leave the whole area around the server and the fiber cabinets free. And then the other reminder would be not to put anything on the floor in the whole room. We don't want them storing boxes on the floor, just in case.
I'll remind them.
Okay.
There's a lot less clutter than there was before. So, and I also tried to arrange the desk to make it less enticing to use that area around the tower there. So I think we'll be
There's
better
a
on both
lot of
accounts.
expensive equipment in there, and if anything happens to it, it takes the whole town down, so.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see, budget, I think I already covered all of that. We will be reviewing budgets over the next couple of weeks, getting ready to present the town manager's budget. First week in March, we will be meeting with department heads to go over their budgets and their capital projects. So, and we are looking to present a continuation budget. Email, we are hoping to do the final cutover overnight, and then tomorrow, people should use the new access information to get into their emails that we sent out the other day. The reason for this is we've moved everybody to Office 365. It's more secure. It just keeps us up with the latest and greatest of the software. In our servers, our Exchange server was pretty much on its very last leg. So we do encourage people to use the town issued email, and we're going to stop sending emails to personal emails for anybody who has town issued email.
Donna,
Yes.
Donna,
Yeah.
if you forget your password, what is the process?
You can
I'm
call.
just asking for a friend.
Okay. You can call me and I can reset your password.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And just so everyone knows, one of the main reasons for this is for through our email, there's filtering and there's archiving. So it blocks out a lot of the spam and other bad email, malicious email. And we automatically archive everything, which we are required to do. And it does prevent the possible discovery of your personal computer or email accounts, cell phones, because if there was ever a discovery and you were using your personal email, you would need to allow them to look at your personal email.
I will be calling you.
Okay, good. So if anybody has any issues with that, trying to access your email, there was a number for Novus. They are our IT consultants, so you could give them a call or you can call me. And I know, Pat, we do have your email ready. We were just waiting for the switch because we didn't want you to have to go through it twice. So we'll get that information to you
Oh,
soon.
that would be great. Thank you.
COVID, we are trying to stay on top of that as best we can, keeping all of our departments supplied with whatever PPE and cleaning materials that they need. We're working on vaccination clinics. Right now, we're working on the population of 75 and over, and today they just announced they're going to add down to 65. For town staff, and this includes all of the library staff, unless I'm told otherwise, once they open up phase 1B, I'm going to call it tier 3, because all of these phases have their own tiers within them. So right now they're going into 1B, kind of tier 2, which is the 65 and over. The next tier is frontline essential workers, and our municipal employees are included in that. So the list that I upload to the VAMS website will include all of our employees, including library staff, unless we learn otherwise, unless somebody tells us we can't include certain groups of employees. But right now, any full and part-time employees that are current employees, we will be uploading whenever that next phase opens up.
Donna, just a clarification. This is, the governor had his message tonight on the next tier for 65 and over starting February 11th. So we're in line with that, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. I think that's it. We're going to talk about the library hours down below. So I think that's everything I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna, for all of that. A lot of hard work there. Gail, you're next.
Gail doesn't have anything new to report, Peter. The big thing coming up is the budget, and Donna gave you the outline of that, so thank you.
Okay. My report's going to be very brief. First of all, I wanted to welcome Pat. Thank you for volunteering. We look forward to your expertise and your input.
Thank you. I guess I noticed there are a lot of committees that are available. So I'll be interested to learn what I could possibly join and help with.
Great.
Nice.
Good. Yes, there are a lot of committees we need help with. And the only other thing, I know that the library is, as Donna said and Kevin has said, operating under the guise of the CDC and a local health commission, and we certainly encourage that for them to continue that. And I was happy to hear that we did open for a period of time in January as a warming center. Whether there were people there or not, it's a different story, but at least we opened our doors and opened our arms. So thank you, Kevin. Building updates. Okay, Kevin, we've got your
Okay.
spreadsheet in front of us.
So on page 910, you've got the building project spreadsheet. As usual, anything that's highlighted in yellow had some change from the previous month. So most of the main floor's carpet has been installed. All that remains is the reading room, which is scheduled to begin installation on Thursday. The vendor says that they're going to be able to do the reading room and the third floor at the same time. They think it may only take them 2 to 3 days. So they're hoping that they can be done by Friday. If not, they're going to have to come through on Tuesday to finish up that work. So we talked a little bit about the balancing of the HVAC system. So that happened, that's great. But a tech from ESC came in to fix the malfunctioning alarm on one of the rooftop units. So this was showing a false positive that there was something wrong and they thought that the alarm was broken. So they ordered a new alarm and installed it, and they're getting the same false positive reading from the second alarm as well, which leads them to believe it's possibly a larger issue. The tech wasn't really sure. So he was working on troubleshooting that, and he's continuing to work on it. This was about a week and a half ago. I haven't heard back yet. I'm gonna have to follow up with them if I don't hear anything in the next couple of days. But that's really the last piece of that HVAC project that just needs to be in working order before, it's done. We take over all the maintenance for it and everything. BPD Roofing came through and visited the building on January 19th. So they're beginning to put together the roofing study that was requested by the building committee. I know they mentioned it briefly at their meeting a couple of weeks ago, but they don't have anything starting to be put together yet. So that's rolling along. I contacted the window vendor who followed up with the manufacturer and found out that although the windows were ordered, they were never correctly processed by the company, so they haven't started manufacturing them yet. So this has been remedied. They're starting to work on them, but it's still going to be probably at least 8 weeks until we see those windows come through. So that's unfortunate, but kind of is what it is. It can't really go that much quicker than that. And let's see, I think that's the only other thing is that I followed up with CertaPro painters about getting quotes for doing interior painting for the first, second, and third floor. And this was just looking forward to capital outlay for future years. So getting those in place. So that's it for building updates, I think.
A lot of work there. Any questions or comments for Kevin regarding the building? Okay. Poet Laureate still on hold, Marianne?
Nope, doesn't say table, Peter. We're wide open tonight, sort of. How many watched the inauguration and heard Amanda Gorman's presentation?
She was amazing.
Absolutely. So with that in mind, I was thinking that it would be a good time, well, other than a few of us, more people are aware of poetry and we could bring attention back to it, even if we can't invite them to the library yet. There might be things we could do. We might be able to publicize something. We might be able to, well, what do you think, Gail? Let's share this right now about getting people involved and submitting poems that could be put on, I hope this is okay, Kevin, on the newsletter.
Yeah, Kevin, when we discussed it today, we thought that the interest in poetry right now is higher. So you've got to grab it while you can. And if people could submit stuff to get on the website, to get into the newsletter, even though we can't do what we originally were planning on doing. So for a while, this might keep the public's attention on it and encourage any poet in town to participate.
Sure. We'll just have to, probably one poem per newsletter is probably good. So we'll just have to see.
Oh, yeah.
Submissions. And I can have something put in the newsletter for March that just encourages people to send them in. Now, is that something that you want to go through the Poet Laureate Committee? Is it something that you just want to kind of have come straight through to me? What type of role would you like in that?
I think we would want to.
There are only 3 of us on the committee. I think we'd like to take a look at things first.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense.
I'll have them send it to the general library mailbox, and then I can forward it on to the committee. if that's
Mhm.
okay.
Okay,
Thank you,
sounds
Kevin.
good. And if we don't receive anything, we could go into the archives. I've been in touch with Kevin about copying one of our local poets, Lulu Jones, who just wrote about very much Hebron, and we could go to Susie Pendleton and, you know, pick one or so of hers if we don't get any others, but just to have people staying on top of poetry.
That's a good idea. I think,
Uh,
I agree with that.
Can you touch somebody's work without something? I mean, you just can't
They're
do it
very
without their
old.
permission.
These people are long gone. They're poets. Their poems are also, what's the word I want? What 75 years? What's the cut?
Yeah, they're out of the 75 years.
Public domain.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Pat. So we'll move forward with that then, committee?
Absolutely.
I agree.
Sounds like a plan.
Good, good movement. Anything else? Okay, I think we may have already covered the budget for 21-22. Is there anything we need to add to that?
Oh, Donna has her hand up.
Oh, okay.
Just one
Hi,
thing,
Althea.
one,
Oh, Dia, hi.
Hi.
one thing I forgot to mention, for all of our budget meetings, our budget review meetings in March, and then our Board of Finance meetings in April, and our public hearing, we are at this point planning on all virtual meetings for those. And that the budget vote, the referendum in May, first week in May, we do hope to do that as an in-person budget vote. We want to make sure that the
Mhm.
townspeople can vote on the budget this year. So that is the plan at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
I have, in the packet, you have the budget documents that I submitted to the town. Not really
Yeah.
different from what you saw a couple months ago when you approved, but I figured, in case you wanted to look at it, they're there. The only thing I know that changed was that before I didn't have a quote for the cleaning, and I was just using last year's numbers. So I got the official quote, so it's a little bit higher than what was in that original approved budget. But everything else is as it was. So it's kind of page 11 through 15. But more just for your information than anything that I think needs to be gone through.
Thank you. Nominating committee report, anything going on, Gail?
Yes, the one person that I had mentioned to you at another meeting that was interested is still very much interested, but cannot commit now for another few months. So
Gotcha.
I'll stay in touch.
Okay, thank you. Okay, under new business, strategic plan update, committee formation. Kevin, besides Gail and I, anyone else volunteer for that committee?
No, nobody's emailed me to volunteer.
Hey, don't be bashful, folks.
Donna just volunteered, I think.
Well, didn't
Donna?
Pat just offer her name?
What was
Am I
that?
being
Didn't Pat
volunteered?
You didn't volunteer.
I don't even know what it is, but
We're just so we have a strategic plan. There's a 5-year strategic plan that needs to be refreshed. So there'll be a committee that goes through and essentially rewrites it, helps to set goals for the next few years of library service.
I really don't know much, but I could try.
It's
We'd
the
love to have you,
subset
Pat.
listed. It's the
One of
subsets
the-
listed under item 7.
One of the things on a strategic plan and why it's done in organizations and libraries is to look at where you are, where you've been, think of what your goals might be for the future and how you can get there. The thing in library world was 5 years. Now, with things changing so rapidly, they're actually looking at a shorter strategic plan, one that will go for 2 or 3 years. And we've, Althea, we worked 1.5 years on our strategic plan, didn't we?
You sure did, yes. Yeah. How do you see us working this time around? Do you think it's all gonna be like through Zoom meetings or something? Or would, you know, with a small committee, do you think we'd be getting together? Excuse me.
For what my opinion's worth at the moment, I am still more comfortable with Zoom meetings and getting together.
Mhm.
But depending on what happens with the, obviously with the vaccine and our board, we might be able to make some exceptions. That's just my thought.
Okay.
Yeah, I prefer Zoom meetings right now. I think it's too dangerous.
Okay.
From
Although I
the,
want to be in public.
from the town's perspective, at this point, we are still asking all of our boards, commissions, committees to meet virtually.
Okay.
Unless there's a real specific reason they need to do something in person, but that our guidance is virtual.
In case it's not clear, I would like to be on the committee too, if you'll have me.
Yes,
Going to be
we'll have you.
drafted.
Definitely, yeah.
Kevin, just for your knowledge, the last time we had a committee, Amanda was on it.
Mhm.
She kind of spearheaded, moderated our meetings, but she also brought with her some staff that was interested. And I thought they were very helpful. So if you have staff members that would like to be on it, I would recommend you chat with them and see if they're willing to participate.
Yeah, we've chatted a little bit, and I've been through strategic planning in Windsor, so I would feel, you know, comfortable leading it, I think. I want to see the shape that the committee is going to take and how large it's going to be before bringing too much or too little staff on. So now that I'm sort of seeing how it's going to be, maybe we can get a group email going and figure out when we want to start meeting and make some kind of date goals for ourselves.
As long as it's after budget season.
Yeah.
There's no night of the week left available right now.
Mm.
Unless one of our strategic goals is to drive you crazy, Gail.
Okay, Gail, ACLB, Board Assessment Tool.
Sure. The assessment tool from the Association of Connecticut Library Boards was developed because in going around the state to libraries all over, larger, medium, small, Dawn and I, the division director at the Connecticut State Library, would give board basics. And what we found out is that after everybody knows how to do an agenda, how to get post their meetings and get their minutes on time, after they learned about all those things, which were very routine, they wanted more guidance, they wanted more insight, and they wanted to know how to really improve themselves and make themselves active and fulfill their roles. So this tool was developed remembering that libraries in Connecticut are not the same. Some are municipal, some are association. Some boards are governing, some boards are advisory. Some boards we're appointed, but in some towns, when I was virtually a couple of weeks ago, they're actually elected. They have to go out and campaign and get elected. So you know what we are, but so the headings in here were obtained from documents that I got from around the country, as well as I developed in talking with the staff, that is the library boards around the state. And then we put some specific things underneath and created a scale. The idea being that the library board would at a meeting would tackle one section and at another meeting, another section, and to see where they're at. They're fulfilling this, they need to do some work on that. It is to help the library board grow. And as we're talking strategic plan, it should be very useful because you're looking at the same thing, how to get the board and the library to grow. So I was thinking of sending it out again, Peter and Kevin, and asking our library board to go through it and send back their thoughts on where it's at. It'll give us a starting point for the tool and as well as for the strategic plan.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I got to say that a year and a half on the strategic plan, it was very helpful to have you and Dawn there, and also use some of the tools that the ACLB has out there for boards to help us move along for that strategic plan. So I can't stress highly enough, please get the
And we
tool.
have a
fill it
lot
out.
more tools now than we did back then.
And they were great and helped us along very much, as you recall, for our strategic plan. So fill it out, please. Get it back to Kevin. We're going to ask Kevin to take the completed documents to get them ranked in a hierarchy as to what blocks were checked, what comments were made, so we could then take a look at that, not knowing who the author is. We don't need to know who the author is, but we certainly need to know where we stand with a lot of these issues and items outlined here. So if you would get that out to us all so we could get it back to you. Do you have a date in mind, Gail, as to when you would like the finished product returned?
Well, looks like I've got a few more dates to go out in, I don't know how I'm going to do it in March, but in March, and I definitely have a number of libraries that want Dawn and I in April. So the sooner the better.
So if our March meeting is on March 8th, if everybody returned it by the 1st, then that would give me a week before we got back, and I could put the tallied results in the packet for the 8th meeting on the 8th.
Okay,
That
let's
sounds reasonable.
let's send the 8th then, set the 8th as the due by date to get this information back to Kevin.
Well, the 1st of March, Peter, would be so we could have it for the meeting on the 8th.
Right.
Right.
And,
The first
and I
of
would
March.
like to see the originals, Kevin.
Okay.
'Cause in order to get a look at where things.
Okay, so I will send out that again separately from the packet, and it'll be due March 1st.
Gail, does that take care of your report, your issue for that? Gail? She must have got cut off. Kevin, we go on now to the dinosaur footprint. Mary Ann, is that yours?
Sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes and no. I'm the one that listed it. Kevin got in touch with me back probably about 3 weeks ago, maybe, probably, and said that the library wanted to be rid of the fossil. So I went in and looked at it and talked to Sherry and Kevin and so on, and they wanted it out. So I got in touch with 2 members of our board who are also part of the Historical Society who owns the fossil. I got in touch with Sue and Gail and had a few ideas, and I also asked Jean Sear if she knew anything about it. Well, she didn't remember to get in touch with it, but in the meantime, Sue talked to, I think this is what happened, Sue talked to Mary Ellen, and Mary Ellen got in touch with Gail Dale, try it again, Marianne, got in touch with Jean Sear, and she got the information on it. And to let you all know, if you've never seen the fossil, it's in the kids area. And it's just an enormous hunk of dense rock. If you look closely, you'll see about 3 footprints of a 3-toed dinosaur. And it doesn't stand out well up there where it is. So they wanted to move it because they have to anyway to replace the carpet. And it was a good time to get it out of there if possible. So it was discussed at the Historical Society meeting. And the suggestion came up that we offer it to Gilead Hill School. And they love the idea and they want it. And it'll probably be out within the week.
I so move.
It's still,
Sounds like
it
a great
is owned-
idea. That's a good idea.
It's owned by the Historical Society. They own it, so they're going to now loan it to Gilead Hill. I think a lot more people will see it, and I think those teachers will do a lot about getting into dinosaurs.
Well, can we back up a bit? So
Yes,
not-
please do.
it is not owned by the library or, so it's owned by the Historical Society?
Correct.
Yes.
It came,
Why,
it came.
I don't know
from the
why
ba-
this is our business then.
It came out of the basement of the old town hall. It was found years ago, found and it's not really a basement. It's more like a
Yeah,
dirt crawl space, basically. And it was found down there, and it was at the time wanted, everybody felt it should be displayed so people could see it. And I believe it was after we did the library addition that it was moved from the basement of the old town hall up to the children's floor.
so it had a home in the library. It had a home in the library, but it was under the purview of the Historical Society. Am I wrong?
That's correct. That's
I
correct.
don't even know why it's part of our business then.
It's not. The Historical Society voted on it, but just so everyone knows that it's
Oh, okay,
going to
so
be
we don't
moved into
have
the
to
library.
vote. It's a matter of information then. We don't have to vote.
Right.
Who's moving it?
I imagine Gilead Hill.
Because it took, I don't know how many people, but it has to be arranged with, I know our road crew moved it the last time. It's pretty.
Can I just jump in and be a pain in the neck? This is not library business if the library, if it's not under our purview, and I don't know why it's even on our agenda.
Well, it's on our agenda primarily for information. If someone went up
And because the director, Kevin, asked that it be moved out of the library, so I think that made it library business. But you'll have to see it at Gilead Hill. It came when they were building Route 91 in Rocky Hill is when it was discovered. And somehow we got it, and I don't know how.
And that's near where Dinosaur State Park is too.
Yes.
Yes,
Exactly.
that's near where it was.
Yes. So I'm sorry, but I have a lot going on tonight. I have a 100-year-old mother that has issues. I have stuff to do. I don't know why we're talking about this if it's not library business. All in favor, I'm in favor of whatever happens to it, but I'm done with this.
Well, I think we are too. I think the decision's been made. It goes back to the Historical Society, and what they do with it is what they do with it.
Peter, would you, so Sue Porter sent an email about her thoughts on this, but I don't think that they're really relevant because it sounds like we're just, going along with the Historical Society, which I think she thinks it's a good idea to put it somewhere, to let them decide where they want to put it. Would you like me to read the whole email, or do you think it's okay? I believe you saw it too, Peter.
I did see it. No, I think it's okay because Sue was very clear that it is a historical society's property, and if they want to do something with it, and we're done with the use of the fossil in the children's area, as you've told us, then that's fine. Let the historical society have it and let them do what they need to do with it.
Okay, just wanted to make sure we weren't silencing her, and I don't think we are.
Yep. No, thank you for that.
I think it would be nice to thank the Historical Society for the loan of it for all these years. Or something like that, some sort of acknowledgement. So people, and also the fact that it has been moved, so people, if some child misses it and thinks it was stolen, that would be terrible. So, but I think it was great of the Historical Society to lend it to the library.
I can write a thank you note. I think that's a nice idea.
Okay, maybe you and I can discuss that tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. Contact information sheet.
Okay, so the contact information sheet, I just, I updated the contact information sheet with Pat's information. And I just wanted to let you know that to have everybody double check their information on it. If any cell phone numbers or addresses or anything have changed, please let me know. And some of you, I have your personal email addresses still, since we're really pushing to get over to the town ones. I anticipate those changing as well. So that's really all there was to it. I just wanted to let you know that that there's an updated sheet on the back, so you can all get a hold of each other if you need to.
Just cross out my phone number, because that was my parents' number, and they've been gone for about 20 years.
Okay.
Yes, we should.
Any other new business?
Oh, the library building reopen was something we wanted to discuss.
Right.
So what I'm looking for here is a recommendation from the board about whether you think it makes sense to reopen the library building to the public, and a rough date for when you think it would make sense to do. So I spoke with Gail a little bit about this and a little bit with Andy. We think it's important to get the library building open so people can have access to our computers, to register for the vaccine, and also to have access to tax materials. So a couple of, since those services aren't available for people for the town, we thought it'd be a good time to think about reopening to make that happen. I spoke with Russ at the Chatham Health District and asked him if he had any objection to us opening using similar measures to what we were doing when we reopened over the summer and into the fall. So all the same cleaning procedures, where we're cleaning 3 times a day, the whole building, and then the bathrooms, a little bit more thoroughly in between there. Making sure social distancing happens. We're still going to be quarantining all the items that come back. And he told me that he thought that was fine. I also spoke with the director over at Colchester. So Colchester never closed in November, when a lot of the libraries around here went back to curbside pickup only. They've remained open. And I spoke to Kate over there, and she said that they haven't had any issues with anything. It's been similar to what it was in the fall. And she feels very comfortable with it. So since they've had success with it, and since the health district doesn't have any issue with us doing it, as long as we're following the procedures and making sure that we're thinking everything through, I think it would be nice for us to be able to reopen and offer those services to the town. The only thing that would make me push it out a little bit further, well, I think it's nice that we're closed while the carpeting is being installed. That makes things simpler. But if that's going to be hopefully finished in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, I'd like to, consider opening either that last Monday in February or the 1st of March, somewhere in that time frame. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, what you think.
would all the services be available, including children's programming that's usually held like in the mornings or whatever?
We would go back to how it was in, August, September, October. So no on-site programs. On-site programming, I'm going to reevaluate it in the summer, but I don't anticipate doing any in-person programming before, June or July at the earliest.
Mhm.
It would mean that those stacks would be open for people to browse. They could check things in and out. But that's really it. The tables will have like a single chair at them. Somebody can use it, but we're not going to be encouraging people to spend all afternoon working on a project or anything there. It's
Mhm.
the ability to browse the collection and the ability to use the computer, printing and faxing and making copies and that sort of thing. So the core services, but not the programs.
Okay.
Kevin, did I hear you correctly? Cleaning 3 times a day?
Yeah, that's what we were doing previously. So we do during the day twice, we go through and the part-time staff wipes down all of the touch points. So all the copiers, all the counters, all the railings, the elevator buttons. And then when we close at the end of the night, which is why we close at 7:30 instead of 8, they go through the building and they do a more thorough cleaning with the pine quat cleaner that the town has. And so you have to spray it and let it kind of sit wet overnight as a more thorough way of making sure that you're killing all of the potential virus particles that could be out there. So it's a little bit of a quicker cleaning during the day, and then at night it's a more thorough cleaning so it's ready for the next day. And then there's a thorough cleaning that happens each time for all the bathrooms. So the bathrooms need to be sprayed down and the door needs to be closed for 10 minutes. So that happens twice a day. Usually it'll happen kind of early afternoon, then it'll happen around 4 or 5 o'clock, and then after we close.
Kevin, could you explain the protocol for the computers? Are we assigning computers as people come in? Do they have to register? And how are we cleaning the computer workstation after each use?
So we're not assigning computer workstations. The only ones that we have available right now are in clear view of the desk. So the desk staff is cleaning them after people are leaving them with rubbing alcohol that we have in spray bottles. So we're not assigning people or scheduling them on computers. It didn't get overwhelming before. If it became overwhelming, then we would have to start doing that. But generally, there's just 1 or 2 people using the computers at a time right now.
Okay.
Anybody else have any comments on the proposal?
I think it's great to have the library open. The number of libraries that are open for some hours, not necessarily full time, is very much increased throughout the state. So I'm glad we'll be joining them.
Yeah, I'm in favor of it.
And what are the days of the week that you're proposing right now?
So it would be same as it was. We would be open Monday through Thursday. We would be closed on Fridays for curbside pickup only. So available for curbside pickup only, and then we'd be open on Saturdays. And the reasoning behind that is that we have 5 days of janitorial service. So we don't feel comfortable being open for 2 days in a row without having somebody really come in and clean the bathrooms. So that's why we've decided to be closed on Friday, but be open this Saturday.
If we move forward with this evening, do you think it's necessary for us to write a letter to Andy with a copy to Chatham Health District, letting them know we're going to open on such and such a date, what the operating hours are by day, and what the procedures are in terms of keeping the staff, the patrons, and the collection safe?
I mean, I think that would be nice. I have the whole plan that we can attach, and Chatham has it and the town has it. Donna, you were saying before that we wanted to make a recommendation and then run this by the
Right.
Town Reopen Committee.
Right. Andy was looking for a recommendation from the board and he wants to run it through the town. There's a reopening, reentry committee of the town. And Chatham Health is represented on that committee, and Andy wants to run it by the committee and Chatham Health before it's finalized.
Yeah.
So that would be good. To submit.
It would be good. I'm sorry. It would be good to have something in writing, or it would be good to report back to Andy that a recommendation was made and it was passed, whatever to reopen.
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Donna.
Yep.
Any other questions of Kevin or Donna about reopening? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion that the library be reopened. Give me a date, Kevin. On what date?
February 22nd.
On the 22nd of February.
I'll make a motion that the library, do you want to submit, make a motion that we submit the plan or just open?
How about we submit the recommendation that the library be open?
Let's say that again. I was distracted. I'm sorry, the phone is
It's
ringing.
open on February 22nd.
All right, I make a motion that the library, did you say submit a recommendation that the library reopen on February 22nd? I'm sorry, the phone is ringing.
Yeah, that's what I said. But
Okay.
that was just a thought. I mean,
Yeah.
you're open here.
Okay,
I'll second that motion.
sorry.
Okay, so that was Beth seconding it. And Althea with the motion.
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, let's take a vote on the motion. Kevin, if you would go down the list of trustees on tonight.
Sure. Althea,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
MA,
Yes.
Gail,
Aye.
Pat,
Yes,
and Peter.
Yes. Good. So if you would, Donna, be so kind as to carry that back to Andy tomorrow. Kevin, you and I'll give you a call tomorrow. We can discuss a letter that I can send over to Andy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the committees within the strategic plan, any other new business? Okay, committee reports from committees that are in the existing strategic plan. Safe space, nothing new since last month. You've been up to date on the building project and what's going on and our conformance with the health policies. Donna, technology, anything new?
Sorry about that. Nothing new besides the email switch over.
Thank you. Diversity, Dale, Dale's not here. Kevin?
So Dale and I met last month to talk about, so we decided to do the lobby display in February. It's Black History Month. We thought that would be a nice thing for the diversity committee to undertake. So we put together a plan and we built a display for the lobby down there, which I think came out kind of nice. And then also the program that I booked that I mentioned before, which I'm blanking on the name of, has to do with identifying implicit bias. And so it's something that we've discussed and is on the topic of diversity in the town.
Thank you. Gail and Deb, community, anything going on?
No, we've been on hold with the library being closed and
Yep.
can't have programs, so.
Okay,
be
and
anxious to
Althea,
Get back to that.
Nothing to report.
nothing to report. Okay, any other business to be discussed this evening? Okay, hearing none. Thank you all for coming. Drive carefully on your way home. And I'll entertain a motion for adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second it.
So that's MA moved and then Gail as a second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
I heard that. Okay, thank you very much. Everybody stay safe.
Thank you.